Now, Palm Sunday illustrates the complexity of life and our struggles with our expectations of others and God. The story of the raising of Lazarus and how that miraculous event led to more and more people following Jesus illuminates that very struggle we may all have with our expectations of God. Sometimes we hope that God will do something. Sometimes we hope that God will heal somebody. The disciples, like us, truly struggled exactly this way too. They had to deal with their disappointment, like we do. They had to look for and celebrate what God did instead of what we had hoped for and prayed for. Now, Martha and Mary thought that Jesus should have come sooner and healed Lazarus, but he didn't, and Lazarus died. And we have lost many people these past few months, and it's been sad. It's been hard. We may have even questioned God's actions and non-actions. Like the disciples, we may have wondered, why didn't God heal my loved one? Why didn't the Lord heal me? Or why did the Lord raise Lazarus from the dead and my loved one? Maybe or maybe not. However, we do know that the Lord did raise Lazarus up. And hopefully we believe that the Lord raised up all those we know who died in Christ into the glory of God. This should be celebrated. This is the glory. They have been lifted up into the presence of God. They are in heaven with the Lord. Yes. So we need to celebrate those victories. And I know it's only natural that we miss them and we go through our grieving, but when we realize that they have made it, that they are in heaven with God, that's the pinnacle of our faith. That's what we're celebrating this Easter. That is truly amazing. So we need to spread the word about the blessings and miracles of God. And Jesus said that Lazarus died so that the glory of God would be revealed. And he was raised up, and she was raised up into the glory of God so that it would be revealed. And the crowd that was at the scene and tomb of Lazarus saw him raised, and they spread the word. And the crowd got bigger and bigger. They followed Jesus and the disciples as they traveled from that tomb on to Jerusalem. They told other people along the way about what Jesus did, and the crowd kept getting bigger and bigger. Now, there have been times in some movies where I've seen this depicted, and it's pretty amazing to see the possibility of thousands of people marching into Jerusalem, and they were on their way into Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover. And we can only imagine that they shared the word in the valleys. They shared the word on the roads, and they shared the word on the mountains. And the crowd kept growing until that crowd grew into a giant parade to welcome Jesus into Jerusalem and hail him as the Messiah King. Now they believed that miracle of Jesus raising Lazarus was the sign that the Messiah had come to save and deliver them. They had come to Jerusalem to celebrate Passover when Moses had delivered them out of the slavery of Egypt and into freedom toward the promised land. And they were also celebrating at that time the hope that Jesus, the Messiah, could save and deliver them and retake the city of Jerusalem like King David had. They had wanted to see him establish that kingdom on earth. They didn't understand that he came to establish the kingdom of heaven. Now we can only imagine how large that giant parade of praising people was. At that time, it is estimated that about 50,000 people were in Jerusalem. And they were there to celebrate Passover.